This is Matthew Soroka from the Top Keys, and we're here with Bharat Patel from AAHOA. And Mr. Patel, please tell us your story. I know a lot about AAHOA, and please identify what is AAHOA.
Sure. AAHOA is the Asian American Hotel Owners Association. We have 20,000 members with hotels all across the country in all 50 states, more than 30,000 hotels. And I was proud to serve as chairman 2 years ago, past chairman now, of the association. The AAHOA story starts 35 years ago. 30 people got together at a hotel in Atlanta, and now we have 20,000 members, 35 years later. And it's been an incredible journey for our association and for our members. And we proudly serve as a story of, American entrepreneurs living the American dream.
Very nice. So now let's talk about your dream.
Sure.
Your dream. How did you get where you are now? Give me a little backstory.
Yeah. So my parents, I was a young kid. We moved to America in 1980, and my dad's uncle said, why don't you come down here to North Carolina and check out the hotel business instead of working in Boston? And so that's what we did. And so Fayetteville, North Carolina, my uncle had the Betsy Ross Motel, the biggest American flag I've ever seen. And he had that motel. Then eventually he sold it. And then we moved to Kentucky. And so we moved to Corbin, Kentucky. And the reason you should know where that is that's home of the first Kentucky Fried Chicken in the world.
So what made you go to Kentucky?
My parents, they searched far and wide for a hotel, and the one in Kentucky was for sale. So they
How
bought
many
it.
rooms was that?
No. It was 80 rooms.
80 rooms. Okay.
Yeah.
Was it a independent?
Independent.
Okay.
Yeah. We did do a franchise, Passport Inn. It's an old franchise. I think it's still available, but that's how we started. We went from an independent to a franchise. 80 rooms. It has a pool. Every room, we joke. Every room had a TV and an iron and all this stuff. But there were certain standards in the 80s, and that's what my dad did. And then my mom and dad decided to move to Florida. And so that was our next level in the journey. We moved to Daytona Beach first, and then we moved to Sarasota later.
Okay, so at a young age, your story also was to do work in the hotel?
I didn't have a choice, right? So I didn't have I say this jokingly and lovingly, is my parents, it's a family business. So we all work. My two sisters, myself, folding laundry, doing whatever it takes to help the business run, and, stocking up the vending machine, recalibrating anything that needed to be done, basic plumbing, all this stuff that we need to do. And so we moved from there to Florida. Florida was a 110-room motel, independent. We did not take it franchised. And my dad had a partner. We just ran the hotel. So high school and college. And then, every time the breaks were some swim break and everything else, I was at the motel front desk.
Was that your favorite position, or did you like being the janitor? Did you like doing housekeeping? Did you?
Interesting question. The thing about it is when you work in a hotel and you do like jack of all trades, you do everything.
Right.
Is that the great thing about being a front desk person is meeting the guests,
right,
welcoming them, right, and then checking them out, like how was their stay and all that stuff, right? Every once in a while you get entangled with, whatever, some guests weren't happy, you try to fix it or whatever. But when you're a housekeeping, there's a special personality. You need to be a housekeeper. You need to be able to be solo. So you're in the room and you're cleaning the room and you do it. So it's your domain, and you got to clean it, fix it, and do everything else. So you need a kind of person who's willing to work alone. There's no teams.
Right.
Very rarely do you see like two people working in the same room.
And obviously you get good at all different facets of the business.
Right.
So you not only be able to do it yourself, but you can actually instruct other groups to do it for you.
Right. So my introduction to fiscal responsibility was paying the sales tax. So you've got to calculate it, and my dad wouldn't let me use the calculator to calculate it.
Oh, okay.
You got to do a 0.06 and then add the 0.02 minus the $30. Like there's all these other different things, but I did it by hand.
Okay.
And so the small skills you learn along life, and they help you later in life because you don't realize, well, why does your dad want to do this? But that was my journey. After I did college, I kind of ran away from the industry, and then I came back to it.
What'd you go to college for?
Yeah, it's a good question. I went to University of Florida, proud graduate.
Okay.
But I did business economics, right?
Oh, okay.
And so it did help, but I always swayed towards political science and politics, right? And so I went towards that direction. And then I found myself coming back, and I liked hospitality. I did a lot of stuff with restaurants and diners, food and beverage. And then I came back to hospitality.
Wow. Okay. So in your role at AAHOA,
Mhm.
what were you really focused on?
So, I was a regional director in Florida for 3 years.
Okay.
And then my AAHOA journey as an officer was a 5-year arc. You get elected as secretary and move on to the other positions. My focus was really advocacy, right? And what I saw is that there's a gap and a divide. And so what I mean by that is people don't know where hotel owners stand on some things. They know where small business stands and entrepreneurs, but what about hotel owners, right? And so we had to, figure it out. Coming back to your question about hotel owners, when it comes to AAHOA, I saw the gap in advocacy, right?
Okay.
And look, we believe in professional development, education, inspiring the youth, getting more women hotel operators involved. So we did all those things too, right?
Right.
We
and
had her,
we found out about her conference. that's
right,
coming up.
her ownership, So the key for AAHOA is we try to be all things to all people. We can't be everything to everyone, but what we can do is focus on our story,
Mhm.
first of all, telling our story. So if you go to our website, AAHOA.com, AAHOA.com, Oxford Study, you'll see that each state broken down, right? So if you go to the southern states, like Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, more than 80% of the hotels are owned by our members,
Right.
You go to the Northeast, maybe it's 45 to 55, 65%. But across the country, you have a population of maybe 2%, less than 2% owning more than 65% of all hotel rooms in America. And during COVID, it didn't change either. We've stayed consistent, 65%. That's an amazing story. When we tell that to elected officials, we inform them, we educate them, they're amazed, right? And they're like, how did you get there? And it's in a short window, 35 years. It's within one generation.
Right.
I'm a second generation hotel owner. My dad was the first. The third generation is going to face a whole different set of challenges. And so on my AAHOA journey, what we saw is, the same things we see now, right? The challenges we have is our capital stack, costing more. Can Congress do some things? Absolutely. Small Business Administration, some other things, you can increase the limits. There are other factors, labor, right? So look, we all immigrated to this country, legally, right? My father did, my mom did, we did, and we're for legal immigration. We've got to find a way to have our workforce be here, whether it's temporary work visa or other things, but the labor force is really something. And I can tell you before COVID and after COVID, we did surveys. Do you have at least one position open at your hotel, full-time position or part-time position open at your hotel? More than 90% of the respondees said they have at least one position open. And that really hasn't changed. So we deal with this constant, chasm of not having enough educated employees, right?
Right.
But one thing that's about the industry that I love to talk about is, you have somebody, we talk about this for example, in Florida, a Cuban refugee come across the border, 16 years old, decides to work at a hotel. He works as a bellhop, right? 15, 20 years later, he's the general manager. And what is he able to do? He's able to send his kids through college. He's able to save for retirement, right? Where else but in America, right? And so I tell that story to everyone that will listen. Same thing with my father. He's the son of a 5th generation farmer, right? Comes to America. And, he saved enough money to buy, one motel, another motel.
What's really interesting is, again, talking about your background, going to college, you're interested in political science. Your journey now is focused a lot towards politics. Is that correct?
So, interesting you say this, but,
whether you liked it or not, you
correct.
kind of gravitated towards this because of the need.
Right. So, they say too much is given, much is expected. And so for some reason, my casual reading was really about politics, history of things and all that. But the key thing I saw is that we're not able to tell the story we should. And so AAHOA, AAHOA.com, again, the Oxford Study's there. So it gives you the ability as a member of AAHOA to be a force message multiplier and to talk about the message of AAHOA, right? To talk about the gospel and say, look, we are small business owners. And look, we're not looking for a handout. We're looking for a leg up. Right. And so you whether you're a government entity or somebody else.
The other thing is that we also just back off of it.
Sure.
Let us do what we're supposed to do. We're good at it.
Right.
We know what we want.
Right.
And it's the American dream again.
Shark Tank, they talk about this, whether it's Mark Cuban or Mr. Wonderful, the other people, is when they talk about entrepreneurs, not everybody can be an entrepreneur. Less than 30% of the public has the skill set to become an entrepreneur. But out of that 30%, maybe only 20, 25% take the risk.
Right.
And out of them, half are going to fail.
Right.
So that's a very, very small, narrow funnel. And you really got to figure out what you're going to do next.
Let's talk about the next step.
Sure.
Your next step you're still involved in HOHO.
Correct.
Very involved. I've seen you on
Sure.
so many different events.
Right.
What's your next step in terms of not only AAHOA, but also your journey in your business?
So in terms of AAHOA, we also have an AAHOA Advocacy Council, which people can apply for. We have a Government Affairs Committee. I really want to make sure the lessons I learned over the years, pass it down to the next generation. You know, you've seen me with some of the young professionals here, and I want to encourage them and inspire them, mentor them to really be a part of the AAHOA and the AAHOA story, because they're the fabric of it, right? And so we want to pass the baton to the third generation. We want to make sure that advocacy, professional education, professional development, and education is at the heart of it.
Okay.
Right.
And now you.
Yeah.
Besides that, you still have a journey. You still have business. You have still hotels.
Sure. Yeah.
So obviously, you want to grow that portfolio, or you want to optimize it and do something else.
Right. Look, growing a portfolio, you know, it comes in waves. You know, it's to me, you know, it's not necessarily hockey stick growth, but it's not like this either. There are going to be economic cycle, so it's kind of like that. While I do want to grow my portfolio, I really want to be able to hand down, you know, sort of our American dream to the next generation. So I have a son and daughter, and they may, you know, want to, right? They're still, you know, not out of college yet, so they'll have to make their own decisions. But the key thing for me is maybe the growth portfolio, but I really want to be able to pass things down, not just to my own children or my relatives, but to other people too, right? And know that this is a great industry. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of determination, true grit, and you can make it. And so there are lots of resources and tools available to other people, and I want to make sure they know that AAHOA is a great platform for that.
So last two things that we just talked about. One is that we're at LendingCom.
Sure.
A pretty amazing event that we have.
Yep.
Specifically towards financing, funding, and opportunities that can grow. We've seen some great opportunities recently because of the new administration coming in with the big beautiful bill. We talked about that. But it really doesn't matter what administration. We always have to work with whatever the government we have.
Correct.
In your advocacy, if you're government affairs, what's the next opportunities that you see?
Yeah, look, the next opportunity is before November, before the primary, before the election. The opportunity is to educate and inform, right? We're in an economic cycle. We're not sure where we are, as the data suggested at the conference, and CoStar and other people have talked about it. We're not sure where we are in the economic cycle. What is clear is that America does need skilled labor, right? So there's got to be something's got to give on immigration, right? We got to figure out something. On capital markets, something's got to give there too. So really, those are the two things. You know, we're going to advocate on Capitol Hill for changing, like, for example, Small Business Administration, SBA limits on lending. So that's one of our advocacy platforms. The other one is Brand USA. And so Brand USA, you know, that is how America talks to the rest of the world, right? And so what I tell people is, what we should truly be doing is having as many visitors in America as we can, because, you know, whether you're from China, the Middle East, or anywhere else in the world, come see the American experiment in democracy. See what freedom is like here, right? And then you choose what you want to do when you get back home. Right. So the best diplomacy America has is for the ability to then visit. On the same hand, Americans should visit other countries too and see what their
we're
experiment democracy, right?
We're in a global economy at this point. We can't. It's just like AI. You can't deny it anymore.
Right. And you can't hide from it.
You can't hide from it.
And so, you know, look, I've traveled the world and I choose to live in America, right? So it's you know, it's a wonderful place with lots of opportunity, and I think the rest of the world should know that. And so I want to make sure that Brand USA gives it the ability for people to visit America. You know, if you got a plan 2 years in advance, that's tough. But anyway, look, there's plenty of things to advocate for, but there's also things to advocate for on a local, state level, right? I don't think local leaders know how important tourism is to their economy. But what I am seeing is cities across America is they're using tourism development as an economic development tool, right? And so if you come and visit that place, then maybe you'll choose to invest in that place. Maybe you choose to move there or live there. And so that's what I'm saying on the local level. So you can advocate on all different levels. right?
Excellent.
And I tell everybody out there that's a small business owner, you know, if you call the mayor of your local city or city commissioner, county commissioner, and you say, look, my name is, you know, Bharat Patel, and I own a hotel in your city. I'm a tax collector, taxpayer, and I provide 25 full-time jobs. I make payroll every 2 weeks. Can you stop by? Can we make a meeting and just stop by and let me show you what I do?
Right.
I promise you they will come.
Mm.
Right, and have fun with it. We have members of Congress come by. We have towel, you know, how to fold sheets and towels, a contest.
Okay.
Right. And of course, I have a little bit more experience, but you know, we joke with the congressman, but or you know, member of Congress. They're people, right? And they don't know what they don't know.
Right.
Right. And so, you know, I'm not running for office. I don't know what it takes to be a congressman.
Sounds like you should be.
Thank you. But you know, when they do come and visit your hotel, it's great, right? And it could be a restaurant, it could be you know, whatever it is. But I encourage people to get involved, and you know, it's like anything else in life. Is no longer can you just stay here and expect business to grow and bloom and do things just by building the business there, just by investing in that community. You need to be involved in the community, and you let to know community leaders know what you do.
What's the next journey or next
Sure.
events that coming up?
So we have a lot of regional events, hotel owners conference, you know, we affectionately call them HOCs, HOHOCs, across the country. We're halfway through the season, but if you go to AAHOA.com, I'm going to plug Fort Myers in September because it's in my home state. Please come and visit, spend your money here. And then next year we have the AAHOA convention in Philadelphia, helping celebrate the 250th anniversary of America. And so it's in April 5th through the 8th.
Thank
Right.
you. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, pleasure.
Thank you very much for your time.